Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Sean Moss with Down Payment Resource. Today, we're going to talk about how to grow your first-time homebuyer business, and in particular, how to leverage down payment assistance programs and confidently speak about DPA opportunities while creatively enhancing and expanding your marketing. So we're going to focus in particular on one tool that we provide, but we're going to show you examples from all over the country of your peers educating more buyers about down payment assistance, combating misperceptions about down payment requirements, and having fun doing so while also opening the door for more buyers to explore home ownership. Now, again, my name is Sean Moss with Down Payment Resource. We will touch briefly on the state of down payment assistance, just so we're all on the same page about what's going on with DPA programs. And then we'll look at kind of what we track and what's out there. But most of the conversation today is going to be educating buyers about down payments and helping you expand and enhance your marketing, specifically by looking at how your peers are doing this around the country, in particular with Down Payment Connect. Now, we do have Melinda Harris, our Director of Marketing, and Fern White, our Account Manager. They're in the background. They're going to be answering questions as we go. So use the Zoom Q&A. If you have any questions, if you have any comments, if you want to share stories or recent experiences with down payment assistance programs, if you've got a success story you want to share, we'd love to talk about that too. If you've worked with a buyer recently that used a down payment program, or if you work with a loan officer that's really good at these programs. I think most of our audience today is realtors, but we probably do have some loan officers on here as well. So let's be interactive and collaborative. So keep them busy in the background. And with that, let's dive in. So at Down Payment Resource, we track and monitor all of the homebuyer programs around the country, from every state housing finance agency, city and county and nonprofit and so forth that offers some sort of homebuyer assistance. That can be down payment help, closing cost help, and more. We'll look at that in a moment. We also integrate into MLSs. You'll see who our MLS partners are. So if you are a member of one of them, we have integrated into your MLS system and identified properties that are eligible for DPA help. And then we provide you with information about those programs. So I'll show you who those MLS partners are. If you are a member of one of our MLS partners, you also have Down Payment Connect for free. We do have a subscription version of that, but today we're going to focus on how to use Down Payment Connect creatively and how to get the word out about down payment assistance programs while building your pipeline. Our ultimate goal is to help you connect home buyers to the down payment help they need. We all know that's one of, if not the biggest obstacle to home ownership, especially for younger buyers. And we want to make sure that you have the tools, the resources, and the confidence to bring up down payment assistance and to utilize and take advantage of these opportunities to help more buyers and to illustrate a path to home ownership for more prospective buyers. Now, as far as what's out there, when we say homebuyer assistance, that can come in many forms. DPAs, or down payment assistance, is just one type of homebuyer assistance that's out there, but that is the majority of homebuyer assistance programs. 78% of all the programs we track around the country are some form of at closing down payment or closing cost assistance. That's money they get at the closing table to increase their down payment, reduce their LTV, cover closing costs, and so forth. But even within that category, and quite frankly, we have an entire webinar that we do in rotation that digs into the differences between DPAs and tax credits and affordable first mortgages and so forth. But even within DPAs, there are a lot of different options. There are a lot of different repayment terms or types of down payment assistance. So DPA, or down payment assistance itself, is really kind of a broad catch-all category for things like grants, which are gifts at closing that don't have to be repaid. But a lot of down payment assistance programs are loans. Even those can vary. There are some that have deferred payments, meaning you don't make a monthly payment on that down payment assistance. That's about 2/3 of all the down payment programs that are out there. 45% of down payment assistance programs are forgivable loans, meaning at some point or over some period of time, that down payment assistance gets the dollars are forgiven incrementally or at some period in the future. That, again, all of these repayment options vary by program. And 40% of all DPAs are both deferred and forgivable in part or in full. That's one category of the programs that we track. But there are also affordable first mortgage programs, often from state housing finance agencies, sometimes from local housing finance agencies. Those can offer mortgage insurance benefits, higher LTV financing, below market interest rates, and other benefits. We also monitor all of the mortgage credit certificates that are out there. Now, these are not at closing assistance programs. These are long-term life of loan annual tax credits that certificate holders get to take advantage of every year when they file their taxes. That's different from just your standard mortgage deduction. And where there are mortgage credit certificates in your market, they are a wonderful value add. And we do track some other less common types of programs. But again, we have another webinar dedicated entirely to the various types of homebuyer programs and the commonalities and differences among them. So we're not going to dig into that in detail today, but suffice it to say, there are programs in every market. Every state has a state housing finance agency. And then you layer in city, county, nonprofit, community development financial institutions, federal home loan bank, employers, and other types of programs at the local level. And there's literally not a market that doesn't have some type of down payment assistance. All of them have market adjusted, and surprisingly flexible income and purchase price limits in many markets. So this is for everybody, regardless of where you are in the country. You have, at the very least, your state housing finance agency whose homebuyer assistance programs are available statewide. And in many or most markets, there are local opportunities as well from other DPA providers. Now, big picture, what's going on with down payment assistance? Before we dive in and talk about how to market to consumers and illustrate these opportunities and start these discussions, we just want to make sure everybody's on the same page and understands that down payment assistance is still available and not going away. If you've heard otherwise, then quite frankly, you've heard incorrectly. Every state housing finance agency stayed open throughout the year last year and remains open today. In fact, many state housing finance agencies had record years last year. These are the state level DPA program providers that are part of your state government. That's all purchase business. That was not refi business. I'm not including refis in here. Your state housing finance agencies are doing purchase business, offering mortgage and down payment assistance programs to home buyers buying their primary residence. So this wasn't cash buyers. This wasn't second homes, vacation homes, institutional buyers, or refinance. This was residential owner-occupied purchase business to the tune of tens of billions of dollars or more around the country. And most state housing finance agencies last year had record or banner years. On top of that, we continue to add new programs. Quite frankly, throughout the first quarter or more of this year, probably not a week has gone by where we haven't added at least one new program somewhere in the country, sometimes from state housing finance agencies. We're seeing some programs come out that will help with student loans. We're seeing all kinds of new DPAs. We're seeing increased assistance amounts, income limits, purchase price limits, but we're seeing new local programs as well. Overall, about 81% of all DPAs are currently funded and active. And by the way, that's a normal number. We don't ever see all down payment assistance programs funded at the same time. That's because for some of them, particularly at the local level, funding can wax and wane. There is some seasonality to some of these programs. Now, your state housing finance agencies, they're all essentially perpetually funded, but some of these local city and county and nonprofit programs, the money may come and go, or it may be seasonal, and some use it, or buyers come use it faster than others. And then lastly, homebuyer education is being done online. That's kind of that's one of the main pivots that a lot of these DPA providers had to do, or adaptations they had to make over the last year in order to keep their program available and to support their real estate and loan officer partners. So again, big picture, DPAs aren't going away. They're still available. And in fact, you're going to see more and more information about down payment assistance, we think, and I think we're already seeing this, because even in DC, we've got more attention on fair housing issues, on equity and home ownership rates, on affordability, and in particular, on down payment assistance specifically. So down payment assistance programs still available, not going anywhere. Now, let's think about the renter mindset for a moment. We know that, especially among millennials and maybe now even the next generation, um, they want to save for a home. They want to stop renting. They want to take advantage of these super low mortgage interest rates. But perhaps they're being put off by the inventory crunch and news about bidding wars and things like that. A lot of them don't know that they can qualify for a mortgage right now. They think that they don't have enough saved, or they misperceive that they have to have 20% down. We're going to look at that in a moment. But taking into account the renter mindset today, let's also think about how we can combat some of those things. We know that home buyers are going to need guidance navigating the home buying process. That's always the case with the first time home buyer, especially. We know that they need help getting pre-approved for a loan. We also need to make sure they understand that that's really step one, is let's look at your finances, your cash to close, income and credit qualification, and let's make sure that you're pre-approved and for what amount, so then we can adjust the home search accordingly. They also need help comparing and understanding mortgage options. For down payment assistance, many of them are going to have to complete a home buyer education course, which we think is great because it not only prepares a better client, a home buying client for you, but it also creates a more successful home owner long term. That's a big part of what those courses cover. And then, of course, they need to accrue and cover their down payment and their closing costs. And so that's where we want to bring up down payment assistance. Make sure that consumers today understand you don't have to have 20% down to buy a home, certainly not to buy your first home, but that there are also programs out there that can help you get the required down payment, 3.5% for FHA, for example, or 3% or 5% down for conventional loans, for qualified veterans, 0% down VA loans, for qualified rural properties. USDA mortgages offer 100% financing as well. And then, of course, we have this nuance now where we're going to have to help these buyers navigate a competitive market, a super competitive market with very limited inventory. So given the renter mindset and the reality that they face today, let's also look at some misperceptions that they may suffer from. And these are the kinds of misperceptions that we want to combat in our marketing. We need to get the message out there or we need to get a message out there or messages that combat these misperceptions because they're holding too many people back. So we did a study with the Urban Institute a couple of years ago, and part of that study included a survey. And so I want to walk you through a couple of interesting insights from that survey, which I don't think are going to surprise anybody. But one question was asked of these potential home buyers, so renters that were thinking of home ownership, what was their biggest barrier to home ownership? 68% of them, more than 2/3, said that the down payment was their biggest barrier to home ownership. Now, again, I don't think that surprises anybody. We also hear student loans. There are some other reasons why people may not feel they're ready or may not feel that home ownership is for them. But we all know that the down payment is a serious obstacle for many buyers, especially as prices continue to increase. And inventory isn't coming to offset that. Now, another question that was asked was, how much do you need for a down payment to buy a home? As in, what is the required down payment to purchase a home? And 65%, so again, almost 2/3 of those potential home buyers thought that they needed 15 or 20% or more to consider home ownership. So we just kind of covered the alternatives, right? 3.5% FHA, 3%, 5% down conventional. We all know that in the industry, but the problem is survey after survey like this. This is just one study we were a part of, but we see this over and over and over from reputable resources surveying relevant sample sizes of potential home buyers. We have to combat this notion that you need 20% down to buy a home, because way too many income and credit qualified buyers are ignoring our marketing and ignoring home ownership because they suffer from that misperception. And then lastly, related to the first two, one of the questions in the survey was, how familiar are you with low down payment programs? Which, by the way, doesn't mean down payment assistance. That just meant, how familiar are you with options like FHA, Fannie, Freddie, USDA, VA, all of which are low down payment mortgage options. More than 3/4 of those surveyed, those potential home buyers that we surveyed, said that they had little or no familiarity with those mortgage options. So they think they need 20% down. The down payment is their biggest barrier to home ownership, and they don't know about FHA, Fannie, Freddie, low down payment options, right? So it's pretty clear what we need to combat and what we need to be saying in our marketing in order to at least start conversations with so many of these otherwise ready to go buyers. So let's be trusted advisors. Let's provide information that's going to help them prepare for the future, clear up any misperceptions, illustrate a path to home ownership. And ultimately, buyers want to work with people and brands that are going to serve them, but educate them and keep them informed. And most importantly, they're going to tell their peers. Those of you who have worked with buyers that use a down payment assistance program, I bet you got a lot of referrals out of that. And we're going to talk about success stories and how to craft those for your audience. So how do we connect buyers to down payment assistance? If you are a member of one of our MLS partners, look for this button on listings in your MLS system on both agent and client reports. Now I'm going to show you a list of our MLS partners here. If you're a member of one of these MLSs, then you can look for that icon. We are integrated into your listing system. When you see that down payment button, click it and we'll tell you which programs are available and all of the layers from the state, from the county, from the city, from nonprofits and so forth. All you have to do is click it and we tell you. It's part of our partnership with these MLSs. In addition to that, we also offer Down Payment Connect for every member of these MLSs, of these MLS partners. And that is a free lead generation tool that allows you to communicate DPA opportunities to home buyers in very creative ways, which is the crux of what we're going to get into now. So to get your Down Payment Connect link, if you are a member of one of those MLS partners, go to your MLS dashboard and look for the Down Payment Resource link. This is just one example of what that MLS dashboard might look like. Some of you are on Matrix, Paragon, Rapatoni, Flex. But if you're a member of one of those MLS partners, you will have a down payment resource link on your MLS dashboard somewhere, kind of like this. When you go to your down payment resource dashboard, your Down Payment Connect link is the first thing on that page waiting for you. That is the consumer-facing link. Consumers can start a search for down payment help, realize there's help out there, but instead of seeing all the programs, they'll fill out a contact form and that directs an email lead to you. And we want to help you market that link. So we offer all kinds of marketing resources, graphics libraries, images formatted for various social media platforms, customizable flyers. We've got video tutorials and more. I'll show you some of that live in a few minutes. But that's how you get your Down Payment Connect link if you're a member of one of those MLS partners. If you are a realtor in California, if you're a member of the California Association of Realtors, you or your clients actually can go to finddownpayment.car.org and you can do a search anywhere in California and you can actually see a good bit more information about every program available in your area or for a client in a particular area. So we encourage you to try that as well. Now for Down Payment Connect, if you're not a member of one of those MLS partners that we showed earlier, we do have a subscription version of Down Payment Connect for you. You can go to downpaymentresource.com/DPC. And with that, I'll talk more about Down Payment Connect in a moment. Well, let's do that first. And then we'll show you some examples of how realtors are using that tool and talking about DPAs in fun and unique and creative ways. Down Payment Connect itself is a tool that gives you a personalized DPA search landing page. Consumers can come there and find out that help is out there. You can generate unlimited traffic. Any consumer that fills out the contact form through your Down Payment Connect page goes to you and only you. So it is a lead generation tool that allows you to generate leads through social media, through your website, your email marketing, wherever you want to use Down Payment Connect. You can offer that to consumers to search for programs and they connect to you in order to take the next steps. So it's a great marketing tool. We offer marketing assistance and support and social media training, all kinds of resources for loan officers. There's a version for you that allows you to control which programs the consumer sees based on what your company offers. So again, go to downpaymentresource.com/DPC if you want to subscribe. If you're a member of one of our MLS partners, then let's kind of walk through some examples of how realtors and even some loan officers around the country are using this tool to leverage down payment assistance information in order to educate and attract new buyers. So this is where we get creative here. These are what your peers are doing. We've pulled these examples because they bubbled up as higher traffic or higher, click to lead conversion rates, generating more leads for these particular individuals, or because they just looked really good. So Brian here is in Atlanta. This is just a screenshot of his homepage, and I'll show you some of these examples and a few more live after I just kind of give you some basics to show you how this is being used. But Brian, on his homepage under his bio, has added information, just a short bit of information about down payment assistance. That's on the bottom right. He's got a click here, call to action. And on the left, he's used one of our graphics. We have plenty more. And he's just telling people that down payment money is out there and he can help them find it. And then they go use his Down Payment Connect page, do their search, connect with Brian, and that conversation is started. Susan, also in Atlanta, she has embedded the Down Payment Connect form into a page on her site. So she just used a simple iframe, and instead of creating content for the page, she just loads her Down Payment Connect search. So the consumer is actually staying on her page while they're doing their search for down payment programs. And once they're done, they have access to property search, more information about Susan, and so forth. You can create a new page for buyers. Now, in this example, if you look at the top at the site navigation, Premier Homes here by Angela, she has added a down payment assistance option in the site navigation. And that goes to another page where, like the previous example, she just iframed the Down Payment Connect page and didn't even build out any content, didn't need to, right? So you could drive people to this from social media. They can see it anytime somebody comes to your website for any reason. They can see clearly in your site navigation that one of the things that you can offer them is information about down payment assistance. Now, emails. Let's talk about email for a moment. If you are sending out email marketing campaigns or you've got email marketing lists, talk about down payment assistance. If you're thinking about or looking for content, one subject under down payment assistance provides you sort of a broad spectrum of things to talk about. And we give you plenty of ideas and content you can leverage too. So you can talk about that in your email content, or in the case of Sal here, add a link to your Down Payment Connect tool in your email signature. And then every email that goes out, the recipient knows that down payment help is out there and that you can help them uncover those opportunities, or anyone they forward that email to. If they know somebody that might be looking right now or might benefit from a down payment assistance program, then you can forward that on, and your email then becomes a driver of traffic to your Down Payment Connect tool. Video. Let's talk about video for a moment. So this is a team in Richmond, and they've actually built a page here with a lot of content about down payment assistance programs. I'm going to show you this example live in a few minutes because there's actually a lot more below this. But they started the page with a video, short, simple, and just explains what down payment assistance is. And then they go on to provide a lot of content to educate the consumer or the site visitor even more. And they've included various opportunities to click into Down Payment Connect and use that search experience to find down payment help. They've actually done a good job of building out their team, leveraging down payment assistance and promoting those programs to new buyers and helping new agents build up their pipeline. What do you offer to new clients? So your intake process or content, what does it include? Here's an example of a checklist from a broker in Austin, Texas, that walks through the first 3 steps for getting ready to buy a home. Step 1, find out what you can afford and cover your cash to close. So look for down payment assistance programs. If this went out in email or was on your website, then that graphic could be a link to your Down Payment Connect page. And then not only are you saying, hey, find out what you can afford, you're also saying, hey, here's a path to down payment assistance. Search for these programs, fill out the form. I'll know when you're done, and we'll start this conversation. Step two then is get with a loan officer and get pre-qualified. And then step three, narrow down your property search criteria and start looking for the right home. Knowing that you're pre-qualified or pre-approved, even better, and you've explored and come up with a solution for cash to close, down payment assistance, and so forth. So again, what are you providing to new clients? Do you have sort of an email campaign? I'll show you some other cool examples here. But if you've got like a one pager like this is a great way to put down payment help in front of them, and especially to combat that 20% down myth. Let them know they don't need 20% down, but let them know what the real requirements are and that there's help out there. Now, speaking of campaigns, whether it's an email drip campaign or a social media campaign, here's a veteran and broker in Texas. When he first started in the business out of the military, he found that he was getting some of the same questions over and over. And so he turned that into a 10-part series that, I forget the cadence, but every few days or once a week over the course of several weeks, he would provide that question to new clients and then answered it. So he kept hearing the same questions. He would just say, you know what, you probably have this question. Let me pose the question for you and then answer it. And one part of that 10-part series was, when you're researching a home loan, what's the best approach to look for down payment and closing cost help, and then offer them Down Payment Connect so they can explore their options. So if you've got any sort of drip email, and again, maybe back to that new client intake or onboarding process, what are you giving to those new clients? Do you have any sort of FAQs? Do you roll out content that's sort of walking them through the steps that they're going to go through? And where does down payment assistance fit in? Probably early on, because you want them to explore that when they're getting pre-qualified and digging into their financing, right? Success stories. So I mentioned this earlier. Let's dig in for a moment. This is a team in the Twin Cities up in Minnesota. You can even tell before we dive into the success story that they are clearly partnering with and illustrating that partnership with their mortgage partners. So this team has also built up their business with new agents coming in, working with first-time home buyers, leveraging the expertise of their lender partner to build out their team and build out the pipeline for new agents. One of the things that they did here that was really cool, and you might have to anonymize this, but the idea was, let's tell the story about someone we helped get into a home with down payment assistance. Telling that story does a couple of things. One, it positions you and essentially your mortgage partner as down payment assistance experts, or at least providers of these programs, right? But also likely experts in these programs. And it also tells the rest of your audience, those other prospective home buyers that are thinking about it, but haven't quite heard the right message to let them know that maybe they are ready. It's telling them that, hey, someone like me who's looking at their first home and wasn't quite sure how to do it, they found down payment assistance through this team and their mortgage partner. They got $12,000 to buy a home in the same market I'm looking to buy in. Well, maybe that's for me too. Maybe I can accomplish this too. So, and I even mentioned when we started the webinar, if you've got a story, even just a sentence or two to let us know, like, yeah, I had a buyer last month. We got them, $15,000 in down payment help, bought their first home, closed in 30 days. That's the kind of stuff that your social media audience, your new prospects, your renters, that's what they need to hear. They need to know the help is out there. They need to know they don't need 20% down. And it helps if you can show them that their peers, prospective home buyers, got a down payment program and got into a house and made that dream come true. So that's a great way to engage your audience and put Down Payment Connect in the middle of that and say, hey, for you, here's a path to down payment help. Do your search, see what's out there for you. Let's start talking. Video. Let's talk about video again. So we looked at an example earlier, but this is a little different. I want to point you to a couple of things here. One, look at the timestamps. All these videos are plus or minus 1 minute, right? Also, look at the locations. The main one here is in the kitchen. On the right side, a couple of those are in a hallway, it looks like. One of them is in the corner of a room. They're all 1 minute. They all are quick hitting videos about a specific topic. The main one here being how to find a lender that offers down payment assistance. This is that same team in the Twin Cities, and these are the real estate agents saying, hey, we work with lenders that are really good at these programs. We do a lot of this stuff. We can help you explore your financing options, including down payment assistance. And then you leverage that, these little quick hitting videos, just get your personality out there. It doesn't have to be a Hollywood production, but over time, that creates this catalog of content that you can keep using and repurposing, and you can address very specific issues with very short, very succinct messages that resonate with and speak directly to the issues of the audience that you're trying to connect with. Back to the idea of creating a down payment assistance page. Here's another example of a team in Seattle. And again, we're moving all over the country here to show you what your peers all over the place are doing to be creative and to have fun with this. So this team created, under their advice for buyers section on their webpage, on their website, they created a page called Down Payment Assistance. You can see that in the navigation in the top left. And this is just a screenshot of the top of the page, but they provide a little bit more content here, basics about down payment assistance. And then I'll show you this live too. They actually embedded the Down Payment Connect experience, the search experience, into this page. So we'll look at that live. We'll also look at another social media example, but to keep it simple, 2 sentences. And Marilyn here has done this with both ads and with just content posts. But 2 sentences. Many first-time homebuyers qualify for down payment money. See if you qualify, and let's get shopping for your new home. That's it. It doesn't have to be complicated. That tells prospective buyers, hey, Marilyn knows about down payment assistance. That might be the thing that gets me over the hump here and into a home. I want to find out what's out there for me, and I want to talk to Marilyn about that. So again, 2 sentences, right? Now, we're also seeing kind of a wide spectrum here. We're seeing a lot of detail and content. We're also seeing 1, 2, 3 sentence calls to action. Either one might work. All of these have worked. That's why we're showing them to you. But we also want to, let you know, hey, if you want to go all in with some more content, you could wrap that into a Facebook campaign and drive people to a page that gives them more education. Or it could be as simple as, let's just put the message out there with this simple Facebook post, test it out, see what happens, and get the attention of a few people and build out your campaign or your marketing from there. As far as lead generation, because Down Payment Connect is a lead generation tool, this is Marilyn again from Indianapolis that we just looked at from her Facebook page. She's maximized Down Payment Connect and is getting good leads. They're responding and interested. That's what we want, right? And then we're hearing that all over the country. Down Payment Connect is opening the doors to a topic that nobody else is telling these potential buyers about. And it's starting dialogue, it's starting conversation, and it's piquing the interest of buyers who maybe are sidelining themselves because they're not sure that home ownership is within reach for them. We need to let them know that it quite possibly is. Instagram. So sticking with social media here for a moment. Post content, post information about down payment assistance. This image here is part of our graphics package, and we have plenty more. I'll show you those in a few minutes here too, but you can still post content here. What are you doing on Instagram? What are you doing on Facebook? Are you talking about down payment help? Are you clarifying down payment requirements if you're trying to reach first-time home buyers, entry-level buyers, median home price buyers, even repeat buyers? Because these down payment programs are not just for first-time home buyers. There are plenty of programs out there. About 40% of DPA programs don't even have a first-time home buyer requirement. Plus, you're a first-time home buyer if you haven't owned in the last 3 years anyways. Here's another example from Instagram, another graphic from our graphics package being used here. Just a couple of sentences about down payment assistance. Let's combat those misperceptions, let them know that there's help out there, and give them a path to that help. So I'll come back to this and we'll kind of go through an overview here, but I actually want to show you some of these live. Now, for those of you that are not a member of our MLS partners, which I'll show you again here in a moment, you can come subscribe to Down Payment Connect at downpaymentresource.com/DPC. There's an agent version and there's a loan officer version, and all of you get a unique to you lead generation landing page where consumers can search for down payment assistance. When they complete that search and fill out the contact form, they go to you and only you. So you're not buying leads, you're using this lead generation tool and workflow to generate leads by opening it up to consumers. Um, and then you guys can come here and kind of learn a little bit more here. There is a subscription version here. So this is the page to come to if you're not a member of one of our MLS partners. If you are, you already have Down Payment Connect for free. Now, marketing resources. Before I show you some additional examples live where we can actually see the whole site or the whole page, I do want to show you where some of these graphics and images and so forth are coming from. So when you subscribe or when you're using Down Payment Connect through your MLS, you get access to these marketing resources, including these graphics libraries. These are just some kind of generic, basic, find down payment help kind of graphics. We see them commonly used in email signatures. We looked at an example of that. You also saw these used in several places on websites. So feel free to use those. And then we've got social media images. Pardon the scrolling here, but we've got images formatted for Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. We've got some for Facebook ads to fit the specifications for various platforms. And we saw some of these as well. We've got all kinds of kind of prettied up Instagram images, but we see them used everywhere. I'll show you this in a blog post in a moment, actually. And then customizable flyers. We have flyers in both English and Spanish. You can download any of these. They're essentially the same except for the header image, but the bottom right quadrant of each of these is customizable. So you can put your contact information, your Down Payment Connect link if you want. Use those in email, social media, on your website. And again, English and Spanish language options. And there's more here. I won't go through all of this, but there are video tutorials. There's actually a social media training module that focuses on using Down Payment Connect on specific social media platforms. So we encourage you to check that out as well. That's a little longer, but it's a good deep dive into maximizing Down Payment Connect on social media. Now, with that, let me show you some of these examples. So and these are live now. I want to show you the whole site or the whole page, the whole experience for some of those examples we looked at. Now, here's Brian's homepage. We looked at his a screenshot of his homepage, but right below the bio, we've got this information here. He's got his call to action kind of flashing at us saying, hey, there's down payment help out there. Come check it out. This graphic as well is a link to his Down Payment Connect page. Let me show you that consumer experience for a moment. It's simple. This is it. The consumer finds out that you know about DPAs and you can show them how to find them. They land on your Down Payment Connect page. Anything they do here goes to you and only you. I'm on Brian's page. I'm connecting to Brian when I'm done. Now he's in Atlanta, so maybe I want to search in Atlanta or anywhere around that market, find out what kind of down payment help might be out there. The only thing the consumer has to enter is a location. All we really need to know is where they want to buy a home. If they want to add an estimated purchase price, let's say $350,000 in Atlanta, okay, well, we will account for the purchase price limits of the available programs. If they want to add information about their household size and income, they can. They don't have to, but let's say household of 4, 97,000, there's still 6 programs. If they want to enter their home ownership history, maybe they currently own a home right now today. Well, there are still some programs, right? Maybe they owned a home, but it was more than 3 years ago. Well, then they're a first-time home buyer again. So quite frankly, that doesn't disqualify them from any programs. Maybe they've got military service in their background. There may be more programs. Maybe somebody in the household is an educator or first responder. There may again be more programs. So they're seeing this number rise and fall as they enter information, but when they click on this Get Details button, we're not going to give them information about all these DPA programs yet. What we're going to tell them is that you can continue this conversation with them. They fill out the form, they submit that form, and they're going to learn more about those programs from you. And you'll get that email. That's your lead. So that's the consumer experience. And then these are all just different ways to get the consumer there. Susan here, we looked at a screenshot of her page, but just to show you what's happening, she's got a down payment assistance page on her site, and the consumer goes through, enters their information, and they see that there's help out there. they click on Get Details, they fill out the form, they go to Susan. Here's an example we didn't look at, but just a simple example of adding this to your website. So Suncoast Realty Solutions here in Florida, under their buy menu, they've got a down payment assistance option. If I click that, they just directed it right to their Down Payment Connect page. Anything I do here is going to go to Brad. Brad gets the lead when I search for programs. Now this would be in Florida, so let's say Tampa. Let's say I don't fill anything else out. I want to learn about these 17 programs for up to $30,000. Well, I fill this out. I go to Brad. Brad starts that conversation with me, probably introduces me to his loan officer partner that works with these programs and so forth. So again, that's just as simple as adding a navigation menu item to your site navigation and letting people do the search. Here's another example. They've added a little bit more information here on a page about down payment assistance. Homeownership may be closer than you think. Well, how's that? Well, because there are down payment assistance programs out there. I can help you find them. Let's get started. So he used our graphic, added this big go button, and that's in addition to the contact form that's already on his page. So you may have other contact forms and capture forms and lead gen tools, but sometimes the message that resonates and compels that conversation is letting them know that down payment help is out there to help them overcome the biggest obstacle in front of them. Another example here that we looked at earlier, under the guide to buying a home, this team in Richmond, Virginia has this down payment assistance page. On that page, we saw the top of this earlier, right? They've got this video that they produced. And then I mentioned earlier, they go on to add a lot more content. So you could, for example, run an ad campaign or run a Facebook campaign and put a hook out there, just a sentence or two, and say, hey, down payment help is out there, learn more. Or give them the Down Payment Connect link from there, or say, hey, you can learn more on my page. And then they come here and they get all this content about down payment assistance. And we know that especially younger buyers, they like to self-educate. They want to learn as much as they can, especially if we're talking about a solution to the biggest obstacle they face. So this page goes on to talk about the basics of DPAs. Guess what this graphic goes to? Their Down Payment Connect page, right? Who qualifies? Guess what this link in the body of the content goes to? Their Down Payment Connect page. What are the criteria? Family finances, first-time homebuyer status, your profession gives you an edge, potentially, right? There are programs out there for people in certain professions. There's another link, this graphic, another link to their Down Payment Connect page. How does price impact eligibility? Where are these programs available? So there are several opportunities for the consumer to use their Down Payment Connect page here, and all the while, they're learning a lot more about down payment assistance programs. Kind of similar, here's that team in Seattle, advice for buyers, down payment assistance. This page includes some content about the basics of DPAs again, and then below it, there's the search. They just, again, used an iframe, embedded the search here. I can do the search right here on the Seattle team's page. When I'm done, Gerhardt's going to help me out. We're going to talk about DPAs. Now, two more examples here. Let's, excuse me. Let's talk about a blog for a moment. If you have a blog, you're probably always looking for content or content ideas, especially if you're trying to keep a constant flow of content pumping out. So, if you've got a blog and you post once a month, okay, once a month, it's a little easier to come up with content. If you're trying to do it weekly or maybe multiple times per week, you're always and more often looking for content, looking for topics, looking for things to talk about. One great idea is to talk about down payment assistance. So a couple things about this post. This used our graphics. We saw this graphic earlier, right? They also have this little call to action on the right side here. Are you looking for down payment help? Click below. There's another one of those graphics. That one is a link to their Down Payment Connect page. So if I click on this, I'm going to go to Tyler's Down Payment Connect page. Anything I do here, I'm sorry, Chaz Tyler. Anything I do here is going to go to Chaz. Now he also goes on to include content, right? So that's a hook to get them into Down Payment Connect. But then the blog content itself is a brief intro to down payment assistance. What is it? Some basic information about what's out there. They used one of our videos. That's great. They've got sort of a process here. Another link to Down Payment Connect at the bottom. Great blog post, great topic, great idea. And honestly, there's so much to learn about DPAs that you could leverage the topic in many other ways too. And I'll end with yet another very simple social media post. 3 sentences. Down payment money is out there. Let's find it. Use my Down Payment Connect page to find programs that could help you save on your down payment or closing costs. And think about this. Shane is in Michigan here. Great post. She has her Down Payment Connect link. She used a graphic. That's awesome. You could even leave it at the first 2 sentences. Down payment money is out there. Let's find it. I mean, that might be enough, right? So I hope that helps you kind of come up with some ideas for how to start talking about down payment assistance, for how to get consumers engaged. So just to recap, add Down Payment Connect or down payment assistance information to your email content or even your email signature. Market eligible properties with program information. We didn't really dive into that today, but as you're marketing a listing, you can talk about its eligibility for DPA programs, and that's another way to generate traffic. Now, I realize right now in this hot market that may not be necessary, but markets change, and we all know that. Facebook ad campaigns, Facebook content, use your link there. You can keep it super simple in a post. You can drive them to a page that you create with educational content that's got more information so they can continue to educate themselves as they explore home ownership. That can be a first-time homebuyer section on your website. That can be a standalone DPA section on your website. It can be something brand new if you don't have either on your website. We looked at video examples. Be creative. It doesn't have to be a Hollywood production. Host virtual homebuyer events. We didn't touch on that today, but for now, virtual or soon enough, kind of opening back up here. Maybe it's in person, but you could partner up with a loan officer or even the down payment assistance provider and do a 30-minute, 1-hour kind of crash course on financing, down payment requirements, and down payment assistance. Position yourself as an expert that can solve for that biggest obstacle to home ownership. And then we talked about some drip marketing ideas. If you've got drip campaigns that are sort of multi-part, cover a lot of topics, make sure you're covering down payment requirements and down payment assistance, and leverage Down Payment Connect to do so. Now, who are the people that are going to help you? Participating lenders. Ask your loan officer partners which programs they participate in, which ones they're the best at, which ones they offer. If you are looking for a lender that is good at and expert at and familiar with down payment assistance, a good place to start amongst your relationships, of course, but also you could look with your state housing finance agency on their website. And often they post not just the lenders that participate in their program, but many of them now will publish lists and even rank lists of their top producers. Those are the experts. They really know what they're doing. They probably want your business because that's how they've built theirs. Another partner here, another important partner related to the idea of virtual homebuyer seminars or just hosting homebuyer seminars, the providers themselves, the DPA program providers themselves, whether that's a city or a nonprofit or a community development division of the county or your state housing finance agency, they want to promote their program too. They want buyers to come and use their program. They also want to work with loan officers that offer these because these are financing buyers, of course, right? But they also want to work with real estate partners that are educating and reaching out to first-time home buyers to educate them. So consider that in your marketing. If you get familiar with or already are familiar with one or two really good down payment assistance programs in your area, then highlight program details in your marketing. Hey, we've got this program that offers this many dollars up to this price, something that simple, right? Come talk to me about this program. And then lastly, if you get the chance, we would encourage you to at least one time, and maybe even with a client, that would be a cool experience for them, attend one of these homebuyer education courses. If you get a chance to do an in-person course, absorb the message and listen to how they educate these buyers and incorporate that into your marketing so you can speak that same language to these prospective new buyers. Lastly, Down Payment Insiders is a Facebook group that we sort of curate we have about 7,000 or 8,000 real estate agents and some loan officers around the country. They join this group to share stories about DPAs, working with first-time home buyers, lender realtor partnerships to get these deals done, challenges with sellers, all kinds of things. We put questions out. We keep it interactive. You can join in just to listen and learn. You can join in to participate in the dialogue. You can go to facebook.com/groups/down payment insiders and join that group and just listen into, again, your peers all over the country. As we've been looking at their marketing examples today, this is where a lot of them come together and sort of engage in more dialogue about these same concerns, challenges, successes, and so forth. And I'll leave you with this, and then we'll get into Q&A here for a moment. This is just from your peers. Show clients what's possible. Amber's in Florida. Her peers are all first-time home buyers. They don't have a lot of money for down payments. Other agents weren't giving them attention, so she does and gives them the education they need, beginning with, you don't need 20% down. And Raul, broker in Texas, we looked at a couple examples of some of his work. He knew there had to be a better way. He teaches veterans how to purchase a home with Texas veteran benefits and how to navigate the process more efficiently, including, as we saw from some of his examples, exploring down payment assistance as part of your initial foray into home ownership. Now, I mentioned earlier, I'll just put this list up here again. If you are a member of any of our MLS partners, you already have Down Payment Connect. It is free. If you are not a member of one of these MLSs, you can subscribe, or we are happy to be introduced to your board or MLS leadership and discuss an MLS partnership. But you can still subscribe to Down Payment Connect if you're not a member of one of those MLSs at downpaymentresource.com/DPC and get your personalized lead gen page. Start putting this out in your marketing, expanding your reach, enhancing your marketing. It comes with the marketing support and graphics and everything else we looked at today. For loan officers, again, there's a version that allows you to control which programs display, because we know you have to do that. There are broker programs in there too. So again, downpaymentresource.com/DPC. Get that page out there. Let consumers explore down payment assistance. Give them that path to the solution to the down payment obstacle, and let's help them become homeowners. So with that, let's dive into Q&A here. If you have further questions afterwards or want to follow up later, you can reach out to us at info@downpaymentresource.com. And we have some pretty cool reports if you're interested in digging in a little bit, or if you have a blog, or if you want to learn more, get some content ideas for social media, check out downpaymentresource.com/reports. And with that, Mel, Fern, what's going on in Q&A or chat? Any trends we can address? Any questions we can answer?
Yeah, thanks, Sean. Lots of great questions today. First, I just want to remind everyone that this is being recorded, and we will send out the recording to everyone that attended the webinar today. So we should have that out to everyone no later than Monday. So we will get that out. Lots of good questions. There's just one that came in. Sharon wants to know the cost of Down Payment Connect.
So Sharon, it is free if you are a member of one of our MLS partners. Let me put that list back on the screen here. So let's see, if you are a member of one of these MLSs, you already have Down Payment Connect. It's free through our partnership with these MLSs. If not, then it's $25 a month, $25 a month for a real estate agent. It's $39 a month for a loan officer. And you can subscribe if you're not a member of one of these MLSs at downpaymentresource.com/DPC.
Great, thanks, Sean. Another question that just came in: can cash buyers get down payment assistance?
Probably not. Some of these programs, a lot of them have what's called an asset test. If you've got more than, some number, could be 5, 10, 20, 30,000 in liquid assets, then they won't qualify for the program, because that's not really the intended audience for the programs. So Generally not, but yeah, I guess that's the answer. Probably is likely no.
Great, thanks. This next one comes from Gina, and she wants to know if DPAs could be used with wholesale lenders.
Yes, some can. Now, the caveat is, who are your wholesale partners? I suspect that's coming from a loan officer. If you are a broker, then there are some wholesale lenders out there that you can partner with that will take down payment assistance programs. And that trend is increasing, by the way. We're seeing more and more activity with DPAs from wholesale partners. We do even have some broker products, DPA products in our system that you can take advantage of. But it is going to depend on who your wholesale partners are. Um, if you're a loan officer asking that question, I would encourage you to reach out to us at info@downpaymentresource.com and we can give you a little more insight.
Great, thanks. This next one comes from Mario, and he's stating that he still doesn't understand how you offer this program to clients. Where do you learn about them? I think he's in the Zoom was about marketing.
So if the question is, how do you offer a down payment assistance program to a client? Technically, that's done through the lender. When the consumer is getting pre-qualified and they're looking at income and credit and cash to close and assets and all that, the loan officer is also going to set up a down payment assistance program if they're going to use one. So if that's the question, then most of the actual like application for the funds and everything, that's done with and through and in partnership with the loan officer. So that's why it's important to talk to your loan officer partners or find one that works with these programs, because that work is done through them. If the question is, how do we offer Down Payment Connect to a consumer? Down Payment Connect is just simply a search form that allows the consumer to find out and figure out which programs are available in their area so they can start exploring this. That's what Down Payment Connect does for you, is gives you a tool to expose those programs to a consumer, typically in the context of some dialogue or content about DPAs in general. So I hope I answered the question, but I think you said Mario. Clarify if I didn't, please.
Thanks, Sean. This next one is from Camara. I believe that's how you pronounce her name. But she wants to know if there's a course that goes into further detail just regarding down payment assistance programs.
Yeah, well, we have one, and so let me start with that, but there's a couple pieces of this answer. We have another webinar we do in rotation along with this one that we do regularly called DPA 101. And it's just breaking down payment assistance programs, the affordable first mortgage options that come from housing finance agencies, and mortgage credit certificates for where they're available. And we get into the more nuanced, the nuances, the details, the specific requirements and benefits of various kinds of down payment assistance. And we compare and contrast differences among them. So we have that, and we have a recorded version of that on our website. If you go to downpaymentresource.com, there's an education link at the top, and you can see previous versions of that. But another good place to go for deeper training that would be market specific for you is the state housing finance agency in your state. Often they'll do training classes or educational classes. In maybe any local down payment assistance providers, they'll often do educational events or would probably welcome a call if you wanted to learn more. So definitely don't discount the value of partnering up with the actual providers of these programs. And all that information is available through Down Payment Connect or through our MLS partnerships. But those are two likely ways of quickly gaining more information about programs in general, but more importantly, programs specifically in your market.
Great, thank you. There's another one that I think would be helpful for everyone to hear. This question is about a client who has used a down payment assistance program, and then they decided to sell their house in 2 years. And they want to know if she would have to repay the DPA, and then if the homeowner would be eligible for DPA for the next house.
So there's two different questions in there. The first one, That depends on the program. Whether or not you have to repay a down payment assistance pot of money or program, it depends on the program. And that's what we get into in the other DPA 101 webinar, is what are the differences. But some programs are repayable monthly. If it was a grant, a gift at closing, then no, it was a gift. If it was a loan forgivable over time and they didn't stay in the house long enough, they may owe some prorated portion. Some DPAs are deferred, where you don't have a monthly payment, but it's repaid when you sell the home or refinance or move out or transfer title. So it really does depend on the DPA that they used, but they're all different. I mean, in some cases you wouldn't owe anything. In some cases you'd owe a prorated amount. In some cases you'd owe the whole thing back, but that's all made clear to the buyer up front when they get the down payment assistance program. Oh, and then the second part of that, I'm sorry, Fern, I forgot what the second part.
Yeah, the second question was, would the homeowner then be eligible for DPA for the next house?
Oh, so in some cases, some program providers won't offer their DPA to the same person twice. In some cases, if you buy a new home and they have a first-time home buyer requirement, you're not a first-time home buyer if you just sold one. So that depends too. It depends on the second program they're going to use and what their requirements are for first-time home buyers, and also for repeat usage of the same program if it were the same. Now, if they move to a different location, used a different DPA, you're really just looking at, is there a first-time home buyer requirement for that DPA in the second transaction, the second purchase?
Great, Sean. There are actually quite a few more questions in the Q&A. I didn't know we're over our time. I can ask a few more if you want to go ahead and answer a couple more.
Yeah, let's do that. We've got a few more minutes, guys. If the questions are still rolling in, then we'll spend a couple minutes answering them.
Okay, so this next question states, can you have an escalation clause in the offer and qualify?
I see that. Sandy, I won't lie, I'm not familiar with what an escalation clause is. I have a finance background, but not a real estate background. So if you, I don't know, Fern, if you know what that is, or we can just ask Sandy to clarify.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was reading that and thinking I would need her to clarify that a little further. So Sandy, if you could clarify that a little bit more for us, that would be helpful.
Okay, I see Rosario asked what lenders or DPA offices are in Florida, Orlando, Florida, that offer these programs. Guys, you can go to downpaymentresource.com and do a search anywhere. But Rosario, if you're a realtor in Orlando, then you're probably a member of Stellar MLS, and they're one of our partners. You can click on any listing of yours or any listing of clients looking at and see what programs are out there, and then click and look at the details of a program. Just find that down payment button, which here, I'll show you. Rosario, if she's still on, it looks like she is. Let's see, find this button. And when you see that on eligible listings, you can see all the programs available and click on any program to see the details. The first thing we show you is links to the program providers, participating lenders. Anybody can go to downpaymentresource.com and do that. Anybody who's a member of any of our MLS partners can go to your MLS dashboard and just click to the down payment resource dashboard, and you can do like a client search there. You can search program details. There's a lot of other tools there that you can explore. Let's see. Letitia asks, if we are real estate, can we put our emails in the signature for down payment sources? Yeah, absolutely. Letitia, this is Down Payment Connect is for agents or loan officers. So yeah, absolutely. If you're a real estate agent, then we encourage you to do something like put that link in your email signature. Let's see. Danielle asks, if we're already a member with one of the MLSs here, where would we or how would we obtain our own personal DPA link? So go to your MLS dashboard if you're a member of one of these MLSs, and from there, you'll have something like this. All of your dashboards look different, and I couldn't put an example of every one up here, but from your MLS dashboard in member resources or external links or somewhere like that, there's a link to down payment resource. Click that, and then you're in your DPR dashboard and you've got access to everything you need there. Let's see. Lisa asks, only citizens and permanent residents can apply, or can temporary residents with employment authorization cards be eligible too? That depends on the program. There are some that are a little more flexible beyond citizens and permanent residents, but you'd have to check with the particular program to figure that out. There are some opportunities out there though. Let's see. Uh, M. Cruz Cordiva asks, some lenders say they offer DPAs, but then they say the buyer doesn't qualify. It gets frustrating. Why can't we just have different kinds? So why can't we just have different kinds for, in this current market, sellers don't want to accept. Yeah, so for M. Cruz Cordiva, that's a great comment, great question. You're right, some lenders may offer or have access to the program, but then the buyer doesn't qualify for any number of reasons. I mean, that could happen if their income is higher than the income limits. The thing is, you want a lender or a series of lenders that offer as wide an array as possible of DPA programs, because they are all different. Their income limits can vary, even in the same market. Their purchase price limits can vary. Their minimum FICO scores can vary. Their qualifying ratio requirements can vary. How much money you can get as a buyer can vary. There are a lot of variables here. You know, if one lender offers one program and that doesn't fit the buyer, there may be other options, but not every lender works with every program. Not every lender offers DPA at all. So understand your frustration is, and there are ways around that. You know, expand your pool of lenders. And I'm not knocking on your lender. I'm just saying one solution there is expand your lender partnerships to include lenders that offer a wider array of DPAs. As to the question about sellers not wanting to accept, you know, DPA offers, you know, that's a real problem. We actually have another webinar we just did for the first time that we're going to start repeating, and it specifically combats that problem among several others that we face. Sellers sometimes need a little education. You don't necessarily have to disclose. It depends on your state. Let me be clear, but you don't have to disclose more than you're required. So, you know, it's depending on the DPA. In some states, you can disclose it as cash, or you know, there are other things you can do that can, you know, remove some of the hesitancy among sellers, but also frame the DPA appropriately. You know, look, they went through a homebuyer education class. Leverage. This is another place where lenders are so important. You got to leverage your lender's expertise. One of the things we did on this other webinar last week, combating that issue, was we heard from a real estate agent and a loan officer who have worked together for years doing down payment assistance business. And one of the things the loan officer said was, I have been more recently stepping in and talking directly to the seller, or at least the seller's agent, the listing agent, and telling them, look, I'm a DPA expert. I know what I'm doing. I'm closing on time, but you got to get me the title. We got to get the appraisal on time. So, you know, sellers might balk at DPAs, and some lenders too. But they need to understand, like, the DPA does not necessarily have to extend the transaction. You just have to know what you're doing and set expectations, but everybody else has to contribute their part too. That was a long answer, but that's because it was a good question and a real concern currently. Let's see, we'll take a couple more here. We're getting kind of way over on time. So I know we still have a lot of you with us. Let me see if I can just pick a couple more out here. Arlisa, a client is trying to buy in June. Do they have time to go through a DPA program now? Well, hopefully they're pre-qualified. I can't tell from your question if they're under contract or not, but here's the best practice. And so slot this in based on where you are with this client. Best practice is, when you get pre-qualified or you get pre-approved with a lender, you have to talk about cash to close too. Typically, you need to start the down payment assistance program up front with the mortgage application and get everything running concurrently, get all the things done that need to be done, and then make sure everybody understands you got to go do a homebuyer education course. Are there any specific requirements for the down payment assistance program above and beyond what's required for the first mortgage? So maybe it's not out of the question, but I would talk to the loan officer and the client immediately and figure out how far are they in that process, and, you know, how much time do we have now to you know, kind of add a DPA. And Arlisa, actually, one more point there. If the client doesn't have cash to close, you know, they're not going to close unless you use a DPA. So there's another angle there too. I mean, part of this, guys, is creating transactions. I mean, if you can find credit and income qualified buyers that are ready to go and they just need a little down payment help, you can make them a home buyer. So then you're not delaying a transaction, you're creating one. So anyway, I hope that helps, Arlisa. Let's see. Kiana asks, I've had lenders tell me that there aren't any DPA programs right now due to COVID-19. False. We debunked that earlier in this webinar, stating that the government is using the resources to keep people in their homes. That is true. There are a lot of COVID relief programs. There were a lot of down payment assistance providers that did have to shift resources and work on COVID relief programs. That did not in any way shut down all DPAs, for example. Now, Kiana, here's what may be happening. That particular loan officer or the ones that you've spoken to only participated in a certain limited number of DPA programs. Maybe the ones that they participated in were put on pause. Many of them are back now. I don't know what market you're in, but look at, for sure, the state housing finance agency did not shut down, and that's first mortgage options, down payment and closing cost help, potentially mortgage credit certificates, depending on what state you're in. Oh, I see, Orlando, Florida. Okay, yeah, so Florida Housing Finance Corp, they never shut down. None of the local housing finance agencies, including in Orange County, shut down. They had different program overlays and things that they had to adapt to, but a lot of that is disappearing now too. So again, I'm not trying to speak foul of any of your relationships or partnerships, but we have to acknowledge not every lender participates in every DPA. So maybe if you expand the lenders that you're working with, talk to the state or local housing finance agencies, see who they're working with. If your lender doesn't want to do DPA, that's fine. That's their choice, right? It's their business. But if you want to do DPA, you do need a lender partner that does the programs that are available. So Kiana, Florida Housing Finance Corp never shut down. They had a record year. Orange County has a local housing finance agency. There are Orange County programs from the county. There are city programs. There are all kinds of programs. Yes, some of them probably had to reallocate resources to COVID relief efforts. That was happening all over the country. But that did not shut down every DPA program. Many or most are back now. All right, I'll take one last one here from Mark. Does DPR provide a list of loan officers and lenders for realtors to partner with our leads? We provide you with the list of lenders that participate in the programs that showed up in your consumer's search. So when you get that lead, Mark, you will see a list of the programs that consumer found in their search, and you will get links to the details of those programs in that lead email. The first thing we show you in those details is the program providers list of the program providers published list of participating lenders, often ranking top producers. So that's a long way of saying yes. Okay, so guys, we've had tons of questions rolling in. We tried to get to as many as possible, but we've gone over by almost 15 minutes here. I want to be mindful of everybody's time. A ton of you stuck around. Thank you for doing that. We hope this was fun and useful and valuable. I'm going to put up our contact information here one more time. I'll show you a couple things actually. Sorry, let me scroll through this. Here are the MLS partners. If you are a member of one of these MLSs and you're a real estate agent, you already have Down Payment Connect. It is free. Do not pay for it. Go to your MLS dashboard, click on Down Payment Resource. Your Down Payment Connect link is already there, along with all the marketing resources. If you are not a member of one of those MLSs, real estate agents or loan officers, you can subscribe at downpaymentresource.com/DPC and get your free lead gen page and do everything else that you saw in this video or in this webinar today. If you have any further questions or we didn't get to yours and you want to follow up, please email us at info@downpaymentresource.com. And with that, I want to thank you. Mel, Fern, thanks for answering questions in the background. Everybody have a wonderful day and go get started with Down Payment Connect. Thank you.